Imagine this. It's 2 in the morning. You've already gotten up twice, and just as you drift back to sleep, your bladder calls again. By sunrise, you feel like you never truly rested. The next day, you're tired, you cancel golf, and you plan errands around the nearest restroom. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Millions of men over 50 live with the nightly routine of frequent bathroom trips caused by an enlarged prostate. And here's the part that might surprise you. While vegetables are supposed to be the healthiest foods on our plate, 5 common ones can quietly make those bladder symptoms worse. These aren't exotic or unusual. They're the foods most of us keep in the fridge every week, things you'd find at any family cookout or weeknight dinner. The challenge is that, for some men, they irritate the bladder, increase urgency, or set off extra nighttime trips. The good news is you don't have to give them up completely. By the end of this video, you'll know which 5 vegetables show up most often as triggers, why they cause trouble, how much is usually safe, and simple swaps that let you enjoy your meals without wrecking your sleep. So, if you've been wondering why you wake up 3, 4, or even 5 times a night, stick around. One of these vegetables may be the reason. And number 1 on the list, it's probably on your dinner table this week. Welcome. If you're new here, this channel is all about practical tips for men's health, especially for those of us over 50 who want to feel stronger, sleep better, and stay independent. Today's topic hits home for a lot of guys: the connection between everyday vegetables and those frustrating bathroom trips at night. Before we dive into the countdown, let's set a few things straight. First, vegetables are not the enemy. They're packed with nutrients, fiber, and vitamins that support heart health, digestion, and even long-term prostate wellness. The issue isn't that these foods are bad, but that some of them may irritate the bladder in certain men. The result? More urgency, weaker sleep, and a tougher time getting through the day. Second, this video is for education. I'm not your doctor, and this is not medical advice. Everyone's body is different. What bothers one man might be fine for another. If you suspect food is playing a role in your symptoms, the smartest step is to keep track of your diet and talk with your healthcare provider before making major changes. Here's how we'll do it. We'll count down from number 5 to number 1. For each vegetable, you'll learn why it can be a trigger, how to tell if it's affecting you, portion sizes that may be safe, and easy swaps you can try right away. Stick with me, because the last one is the most common and the most surprising. Number 5. Pickled and fermented vegetables. Pickles on a burger. Sauerkraut on a hot dog. A side of kimchi with dinner. These tangy, crunchy vegetables taste great and even bring some health benefits, thanks to probiotics. But for men dealing with an enlarged prostate, they can come with an unexpected price: more nighttime bathroom trips. The main culprit here is salt. Most pickled and fermented vegetables are packed in a salty brine. That sodium is what keeps them crisp and safe to eat for weeks or months. But when you load up on salty foods, your body has to hold extra water to balance things out. Later, often during the night, that water gets released, filling your bladder when you're trying to sleep. If your prostate is already slowing down urine flow, that extra fluid means more urgency and more wake-ups. Not everyone is equally sensitive. If you already have high blood pressure, swollen ankles, or you're up 2 or more times a night, salty pickles and fermented vegetables may hit you harder. The good news is, you don't need to give them up entirely. Portion size is key. A single spear of pickle or a forkful of sauerkraut might be harmless. Half a jar at dinner, though, is almost guaranteed to disrupt your night. There are also easy swaps. Fresh cucumbers tossed with vinegar give you the crunch and tang without the sodium overload. Many stores now carry low-sodium pickles or kimchi, worth trying if you love the flavor. You can even make your own refrigerator pickles with a lighter brine. Here's a simple self-test. Avoid pickled and fermented vegetables after 3 p.m. for 1 week. Track how many times you wake up. Then bring back a small portion with lunch and see what happens. If you notice a clear difference, you've identified a personal trigger. Pickled and fermented vegetables aren't bad foods. They can be part of a healthy diet. But for some men, cutting back at dinner time can mean fewer bathroom interruptions and better sleep. Next up, number 4, a group of vegetables we all associate with healthy eating, but that can create a different kind of pressure on the bladder. Number 4, cruciferous vegetables. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts are often called superfoods. They're loaded with vitamins, minerals, and compounds that may help protect against cancer. But for men with an enlarged prostate, these healthy veggies can sometimes cause an unexpected problem: bloating and extra pressure on the bladder. Here's why. Cruciferous vegetables contain certain complex carbohydrates that the body struggles to digest fully. When they reach the large intestine, bacteria go to work breaking them down, and the byproduct is gas. For many people, that simply means burping or passing gas. But if you have an enlarged prostate, the bladder is already more sensitive. Add the pressure of a bloated abdomen, and suddenly you feel like you need to urinate, even if your bladder isn't truly full. Who is most likely to be affected? Men who notice urgency or discomfort after a large serving of these vegetables, especially at dinner. Some men can eat a full plate without issue, while others react after just a cup. It really depends on your digestion and sensitivity. The solution isn't to cut these vegetables out completely. Instead, focus on portion size and preparation. Try half a cup instead of a big bowl. Cook them thoroughly. Roasting, steaming, or boiling can make them easier to digest. Some men find that discarding the cooking water after boiling reduces gas-forming compounds. Adding spices like ginger or caraway seeds may also ease digestion. A simple test is to limit cruciferous vegetables to no more than half a cup per meal for 2 weeks. Track how many times you feel urgency or wake at night. Then, increase the portion at one meal and see if symptoms change. Timing also matters. Having broccoli at lunch may give your body the afternoon to process it, while eating the same amount at dinner could lead to bloating and extra trips to the bathroom overnight. Remember, these vegetables are extremely healthy, so the goal isn't to avoid them forever. It's about finding the right amount and the right timing that works for your body. Coming up next, number 3. A pair of flavor-packed vegetables that sneak into almost every cooked dish. And for some men, they're a hidden trigger. Number 3, onions and garlic. Think about your favorite meals: spaghetti sauce, chili, stir fries, salsa, even a simple burger with onions on top. Onions and garlic are everywhere. They add flavor, they boost aroma, and they're often praised for heart and immune health. But for men with an enlarged prostate, these kitchen staples can sometimes stir up bladder trouble. The issue is twofold. First, onions, especially raw onions, are naturally acidic. That acidity can irritate the bladder lining, making it contract more often and creating the sensation that you need to go, even if your bladder isn't full. Garlic isn't as acidic, but in sensitive men, it can have a similar effect. Second, both onions and garlic are high in what nutritionists call FODMAPs, fermentable carbohydrates that can cause gas and bloating. Just like with broccoli or cabbage, that bloating can put extra pressure on a bladder that's already more sensitive because of an enlarged prostate. Not everyone reacts the same way. Some men eat onions and garlic with no issues. Others notice they need the restroom within an hour after eating salsa, onion rings, or garlic bread. If you already have digestive sensitivities, like irritable bowel symptoms, you're more likely to feel these effects. Here's how to work around it. Cooking onions and garlic thoroughly often makes them easier to tolerate. A small amount of sautéed onion in a soup may be fine, while a big portion of raw onion on a salad could be a problem. Garlic or onion-infused oils give you flavor without the compounds that trigger gas and irritation. Chives, scallion tops, or leeks can also add flavor with less impact. To test your sensitivity, go without onions and garlic for a week. Then bring back a small serving of cooked onion at lunch, not dinner, and see what happens. If urgency spikes, you've found a trigger. Onions and garlic aren't bad foods. They can be healthy. But if they're stealing your sleep or keeping you chained to the restroom, it's worth adjusting how and when you eat them. Next up, number 2, a group of vegetables that bring the heat and sometimes more bladder irritation than you'd expect. Number 2, spicy peppers and hot salsas. Chili peppers, jalapenos, hot sauces, and fiery salsas add excitement to meals. For many, a little heat makes food more satisfying. But for men with an enlarged prostate and sensitive bladder, spicy peppers can be a double-edged sword. The main culprit here is capsaicin, the compound that makes peppers hot. Capsaicin doesn't just burn your tongue, it can also irritate the lining of your bladder. An irritated bladder sends stronger signals, which often means urgency, more frequent trips, or even burning sensations. If your prostate is already slowing down the flow of urine, this extra irritation makes things worse. What makes spicy peppers tricky is that they often come packaged with other triggers. Take salsa, for example. It's usually a mix of tomatoes, acidic, onions, acidic and gas-forming, and chili peppers, spicy. That's 3 possible irritants in 1 spoonful. No wonder some men notice they're running to the restroom not long after taco night. Not every man reacts to spice in the same way. Some can handle a little heat earlier in the day, but find that a late dinner with hot peppers guarantees multiple bathroom trips at night. Others feel the effects after just a few bites, no matter the time. The good news is, you don't have to give up flavor. Sweet bell peppers, roasted poblano peppers, and herbs like smoked paprika, oregano, or cumin add depth without irritating the bladder. Roasting vegetables can also bring out rich flavors that replace the need for extra spice. Here's a simple experiment. Take a 2-week break from chili peppers, hot sauces, and spicy salsas. Keep track of how often you wake at night. Then, reintroduce a mild salsa at lunch and watch what happens. If symptoms come roaring back, spice is a likely culprit. Remember, spicy food isn't bad. It's about your personal threshold. Some men can handle mild flavors in moderation, while others need to skip the heat entirely, especially at night. And that brings us to number 1, the vegetable most often linked to bladder irritation. It's on nearly every American dinner table, and for many men, it's the biggest trigger of them all. Number 1, tomatoes and tomato products. Tomatoes are one of the most common vegetables in the American diet. They're on burgers, in pasta sauces, spread across pizza, and squeezed onto fries as ketchup. For many men, they're a daily staple. But when it comes to an enlarged prostate and bladder sensitivity, tomatoes are also the number 1 trigger food. The reason is simple: acidity. Tomatoes are naturally acidic. That sourness isn't a problem for everyone. But in sensitive bladders, it can act like sandpaper. It irritates the lining, causing the bladder to contract more often. The result is urgency, more frequent bathroom visits, and especially those frustrating nighttime wake-ups. The issue is worse with concentrated tomato products, like spaghetti sauce, tomato paste, chili, or ketchup. Because the acids are packed into a smaller serving, they're more likely to trigger irritation. A plate of pasta with red sauce at dinner can set you up for 2 or 3 trips to the bathroom before sunrise. Who's most affected? Men who notice burning or urgency after pizza or spaghetti are usually sensitive to tomatoes. Those with acid reflux at night may feel a double hit: disrupted sleep from both the bladder and the digestive tract. But just like the other vegetables on this list, tomatoes don't need to disappear from your life. Portion and timing matter. Some men can tolerate half a cup of sauce at lunch, but not at dinner. Pairing tomatoes with dairy, like cheese, or adding a pinch of baking soda while cooking can reduce acidity. Low-acid tomato varieties and sauces are also available and worth trying. There are even tasty swaps. Roasted red bell pepper sauce makes an excellent tomato-free marinara. Many people are surprised at how satisfying it is once they give it a chance. For ketchup, try homemade versions with less vinegar or substitute with avocado or hummus as a spread. To test your sensitivity, go tomato-free for 2 weeks. Track your bathroom visits, especially at night. Then, reintroduce a small portion of low-acid sauce at lunch. If your symptoms flare, you've found your culprit. It's important to remember that tomatoes also contain lycopene, an antioxidant studied for potential prostate health benefits. That means they're not bad foods. They just don't agree with everyone. If they bother you, use swaps and timing to work around them. If they don't, enjoy them in moderation. Tomatoes are everywhere in the American diet, which makes them the hardest to manage but also the most rewarding. For many men, cutting back on tomato products in the evening is the single biggest step toward fewer bathroom interruptions and better sleep. Before we move on, let's quickly look at a couple of honorable mentions. Vegetables that didn't make the top 5, but still cause problems for some men. 2 other vegetables don't quite make the top 5, but they're still worth mentioning because they can trip up certain men. The first is asparagus. Many people know it for the distinct smell it gives urine, but asparagus also has a mild diuretic effect. That means it can make you produce more urine in a short time. If you enjoy a big serving of asparagus at dinner, don't be surprised if you wake up more often that night simply because your bladder fills faster. The easy fix is timing. Have asparagus earlier in the day so your body has time to process it before bedtime. The second is very high-water salads, especially those built around cucumbers, lettuce, and celery. These vegetables are healthy and hydrating, but if you eat a giant salad right before bed, you're loading your system with extra fluid all at once. Combine that with a sensitive bladder, and you may find yourself making extra trips in the middle of the night. Neither asparagus nor watery salads are bad. They can stay in your diet. Just keep portions reasonable and, most importantly, shift them to lunch or early dinner instead of your last meal of the day. Next, let's talk about how you can figure out your own personal food triggers step by step. Knowing the top 5 vegetables most likely to irritate the bladder is helpful, but the real key is figuring out what affects you personally. Every man's body is different. Some men can enjoy tomato sauce with no problem, while others find even a small serving keeps them up all night. That's why a simple, structured plan works best. Here's a 4-step method you can try, easy to remember with the word CALM, cut. For 2 weeks, cut out the 5 main trigger groups from your evening meals: pickled vegetables, crucifers in large portions, onions and garlic, spicy peppers, and tomato products. This gives your body a reset. A. Adjust. Don't think of it as total restriction. Adjust when and how you eat these foods. For example, move your broccoli to lunch instead of dinner, or swap tomato sauce for roasted red pepper sauce. Neither asparagus nor watery salads are bad. They can stay in your diet. Just keep portions reasonable and, most importantly, shift them to lunch or early dinner instead of your last meal of the day. Next, let's talk about how you can figure out your own personal food triggers step by step. Knowing the top 5 vegetables most likely to irritate the bladder is helpful, but the real key is figuring out what affects you personally. Every man's body is different. Some men can enjoy tomato sauce with no problem, while others find even a small serving keeps them up all night. That's why a simple, structured plan works best. Here's a 4-step method you can try, easy to remember with the word CALM, cut. For 2 weeks, cut out the 5 main trigger groups from your evening meals: pickled vegetables, crucifers in large portions, onions and garlic, spicy peppers, and tomato products. This gives your body a reset. A. Adjust. Don't think of it as total restriction. Adjust when and how you eat these foods. For example, move your broccoli to lunch instead of dinner, or swap tomato sauce for roasted red pepper sauce. Wonderful, but it works best when paired with smart lifestyle choices. Here are 3 changes that can make a real difference for men with an enlarged prostate. Cut salt and manage evening fluids. We already talked about how salty foods can pull extra water into your system. That fluid usually shows up in the bladder at night. If you're waking up often, try reducing added salt in your meals and avoid salty snacks in the evening. Also, be mindful of fluids close to bedtime. You don't need to dehydrate yourself, but aim to drink most of your water earlier in the day. Stop heavy drinking, like big glasses of water, juice, or soup, about 3 hours before bed. Watch caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine is a bladder stimulant and a mild diuretic, which means more urgency and more trips. Alcohol acts in a similar way. You don't necessarily have to cut them out completely, but limiting them to the morning or early afternoon can make a big difference. If you've been having coffee after dinner or a glass of wine before bed, try shifting those earlier. Bladder training and gentle exercise. Sometimes the bladder gets used to sending go now signals too quickly. Bladder training means slowly spacing out your bathroom visits during the day, teaching your bladder to hold a bit more. Gentle exercise like walking, stretching, or simple pelvic floor exercises improves circulation and muscle support in the pelvic area, helping with control. Each of these steps is simple on its own, but combined with dietary adjustments, they can lead to noticeable improvements. Many men find that when they reduce evening salt and fluids, cut late caffeine, and keep active, they wake up 1 or 2 fewer times per night. That alone can transform the quality of your sleep. Next, let's do a quick recap of everything we've covered. Let's pull it all together with a quick checklist. We started with the idea that while vegetables are usually healthy, some can make bladder symptoms worse for men with an enlarged prostate. Then we walked through the top 5 culprits. Pickled and fermented vegetables, loaded with salt, they can draw fluid into the bladder at night. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts, healthy but gas-forming, which can add pressure and trigger urgency. Onions and garlic, acidic and gas-producing, especially when raw. Spicy peppers and hot salsas, capsaicin irritates the bladder lining. Tomatoes and tomato products, acidic and often the single biggest trigger. We also looked at honorable mentions. Asparagus, which has a mild diuretic effect, and very watery salads eaten late at night. Then I gave you the CALM protocol. Cut, adjust, log, make. A step-by-step way to identify your personal triggers without guesswork. And we added lifestyle boosters. Reduce salt and evening fluids, cut caffeine and alcohol late in the day, and use bladder training plus light exercise for better control. The big takeaway: you don't have to give up vegetables. You just need to know which ones affect you and make small, smart adjustments. Finally, let's talk about what you can do next and how to stay connected. Now it's your turn. If you've been struggling with frequent bathroom trips at night, try out some of these changes this week. Maybe it's skipping tomato sauce at dinner, swapping a pickle for fresh cucumber, or moving your broccoli to lunchtime instead of late evening. Keep a simple log and see what happens. You may be surprised how quickly you notice a difference. I'd love to hear from you. What stands out from this list? Have you noticed certain vegetables trigger your symptoms more than others? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help another man who's going through the same thing. If this video was helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We post regular, practical tips to help men over 50 live healthier, sleep better, and feel more in control of their prostate health. Turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. And speaking of what's next, in the upcoming video, we'll cover 5 drinks that can actually support prostate and bladder health, so you'll know not only what to limit, but also what to add to your daily routine. Thanks for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.